My producer of Airplane, John Davison, had a famous saying, and he said, anyone can make a bad movie. So I'm going to have that done in needlepoint, I think.
David, do you think you'll ever make another studio movie?
Oh, you never say never, but I'm making independent movies because studios aren't making my kind of movies anymore. But after I do Star of Malta, which is an independent film, a studio may be interested after they say, oh, wait a minute, this guy isn't dead. So, they may support me again.
If Paramount came to you and said, can we do Airplane 3, what would you say?
No.
Why not?
I don't want to do old ideas. I don't want to do Naked Gun anymore. I did want to do Naked Gun. I had a script but it rebooted the whole concept into a Mission Impossible, Bourne, James Bond franchise.
Does it upset you that you'll never do another studio movie again?
No, I'll do another movie again. It's just like I don't get upset easily. If I stub my toe, then I get upset. But just this movie stuff. If I do another movie, it'll be great. If I don't, I'm still happy.
Would you have said that 20 years ago?
It's kind of a hypothetical because 20 years ago, the studios were falling all over themselves trying to, get me to do a movie. So it's okay. Things just change. What's true in 2026 was not true in 2016 or 2006. It's just, the situation changes. So now the game is, low budget and independent financing. So that's what I'm doing. But you have to make the movie the right way. And a lot of proposals have been made to me saying, if you cast this person in it, then you'll have a movie. And I say, I have to say no. As much as I want to make the movie, I want to do it. It has to be done right. There's no point in doing it if it's not right. My producer of Airplane, John Davison, had a famous saying, and he said, anyone can make a bad movie. So I'm going to have that done in needlepoint, I think. Yeah.
Can we talk about that a little more? What makes it right? What makes it wrong?
Well, if the casting isn't right, then you can lose the movie. If you don't have the right director, what's the point in writing the script? I've had movies where we wrote a good script, but the director just didn't know how to do spoof or just booted it. So it's tricky, and so, but mainly it's getting the right director and getting the right cast. I've had movies that were pretty good, but they had the wrong cast, so we lost it in that. There's a million ways you can lose a movie.
Right. Would you say that the beginning of a filmmaker's career is mostly about saying yes, and then maybe as they sort of progress, that it's more about saying no and filtering out what doesn't work?
Well, I don't know how it's for anybody else, but for us, it wasn't saying yes. We had offers to buy the script to Airplane, and we said no. And we just kept on trying till Michael Eisner found the script and decided to get us into Paramount. And then they wanted to hire another director, and we said no. It's like you can't say yes all the time. You have to protect whatever it is that your original vision, if you have a vision for the script, and stay true to that. We did make some compromises, and Michael Eisner said, well, it's the plane has to be a jet, and we wanted it to be on a prop plane because we were purists, and we wanted to really do 0 Hour, which was a 1957 black and white movie, same plot, and it had a prop plane. And Michael Eisner said, basically, you guys may be right, and you may go on to do this movie, have it on a prop plane, and it may even go on to be a big success, but it won't be at the studio. So he was firm. And so we said yes. So, you know, nothing is always true. And it turned out Eisner was right. So we weren't always right. We were right about that we had to direct it. And in the first day's dailies, they knew it because they made a deal with us that we could direct it, but they had the right to fire us after 2 weeks because we were first-time directors, and there were 3 of us, and comedy without comedians, just nothing had ever been done before. So after the first day's dailies, when Leslie Nielsen says to Robert Hayes, "I am serious, and don't call me Shirley," the light went on. Everybody, the entire executive corporation branch of Paramount said, "Oh, now we get it." So Jeff Katzenberg called us up that afternoon and said, "Don't worry, you guys aren't going to be fired." He knew it.
Do you think Hollywood is done looking for original ideas?
No, I think, you know, Sean Baker did, you know, what was that movie that he did?
Honora.
Honora. And so Sean Baker did Honora, and it was an extremely low budget movie. It wasn't a Hollywood movie yet. It did well. It made money, and you know, but it wasn't a Hollywood movie. So I think there's always stuff that's coming up that is good, and neither do I think that all Hollywood movies are bad. I mean, Tom Cruise movies are great. I mean, most of it is superhero movies and franchises and copies and remakes and all and stuff like Ted. But there's always stuff that comes up like Top Gun Maverick. And Tom Cruise, he's so good. He's such a good actor. He's such a good producer, writer. I don't know how he does it, but that's a big, expensive Hollywood budget movie, and it was great.
Were you surprised at the acclaim that Honora got, knowing that it was edgy, it touched on taboo subject matter?
No, I was not surprised because I hadn't seen it at the time. but I did. I saw it later after I met Sean Baker, who's a great guy, and he loves Naked Gun and Top Secret and Airplane and blah blah blah. But you know, he's a guy who admires my stuff but doesn't try to copy it. You know, good for him. And he was such a nice guy and so nice, polite, and you know, worships me well enough so that I was motivated to actually see his movie. So and it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, and if you have a chance to see any of his other films, equally impressive. So I highly recommend him. Any chance to spoof Honora?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just I can only spoof, you know, B movies. Really, you can't spoof real art. And I think, you know, Sean Baker is an artiste and he's a filmmaker. You know, I don't know what you call it. He's an auteur. You know, all that stuff. But so why make fun of him? You can't make, and just like you can't make fun of a comedy. You know, you can only make something. You can only spoof something that is super serious and over the top serious and you know, kind of B movie, like all the airport movies, those things, and all the Dirty Harry movies, and the Dirty Harry movies were great. I loved them. I loved all the airport movies, but they're not Honora, so you get the distinction.
Absolutely.
And if you don't, take our course, MASTERCRASH.com.
Okay. With all the ideas you've pitched to Hollywood, what has been their biggest mistake? What did they pass on that was a mistake in your eyes?
I don't usually pitch things. I usually just write the script with my writing partners. Because it's hard to pitch something, and because most studio executives really don't have any imagination. But you asked me what the biggest mistake was of any studio?
Of their mistake, yeah, not yours, yeah.
Well, Naked Gun 4, huge mistake. Not only was the movie a flop, but I mean, compared to the Naked Guns that we did, but it ended the franchise. It just, nobody wants to see a Naked Gun anymore. There were so few laughs in it that it's kind of I don't want to say tragedy, you know. It's not like it's a first world type of tragedy. But that was the biggest miss. I was so surprised. I was not surprised that 9 studios turned down Airplane. That was, you know, we were unknown. It was a script that nobody understood except Michael Eisner. And then we didn't have any trouble pitching Naked Gun. We just pitched Naked Gun to Frank Mancuso, who was the head of Paramount at the time, and he said yes. I mean, that was really easy. But the only real shocker to me was when Paramount turned down our Naked Gun 4.
Do you think now is an incredible time for bold, independent comedy filmmakers to rise up?
Well, it's always the time. It's always been the time for a good movie. So I don't think anybody was looking for, why doesn't somebody make an Honora? And Sean Baker just dreamed it up, thought it up, wrote it well, directed it well, and so it's always the time for that. Could have worked 10 years ago, and it will work 10 years from now if he does a movie that's engaging and where a character goes through a true arc. And I think that somebody like Sean Baker, you know, knows the rules of filmmaking, and if you stick to the rules of basic filmmaking, audiences will respond. It's always a good time for an original idea. It's just that you got to get the money independently. The studios are all full of people like the executives who know zero about anything. So, but that doesn't mean that they're as good as a broken clock. I mean, they're right twice a day. Paramount did Top Gun Maverick. So, you know, I mean, they are right twice a day.
Did you see Clute years ago?
Oh, years ago, yeah.
Okay. How would you compare something like that to a Nora today? Do you think at that time that was sort of the Sean Baker's Nora of that time?
Oh, I suppose it would have been in a big studio, kind of Jane Fonda type of way, yeah.
Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. Here is a complimentary question from our book Story Questions.